So in this next section here, what we're going to do, we've sorted out all of our audio clips into the designated tracks, and we're going to have a look at the process of best hiding edits. Again, as soon as the audience perceives any kind of technology, any kind of unnatural changes in volume or background or anything like that, then the game's up. We've kind of popped that bubble and we've lost all believability. Now, having a look at what we wound up with here, I am seeing quite a few sections where there's one sound effect that's gone directly into another with like a butt cut, a hard butt cut here. I personally don't like that, so I'm going to encourage, we could probably get away with it, but let's just create another SFX track, yeah? In this case, I'm just going to duplicate this with nothing, no active playlist, no alternate playlist, no automation or anything like that, just so it's the same color and I don't have to fish for that perfect hue.
Are those all mono?
These are all mono, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very rare to get anything in production that's not going to be mono, because it's either a mono boom mic or a mono bug mic. Yeah. The only time you're really going to get stereo, maybe if it's an ambience, but then it'll probably be a wild, and it won't be a sync ambience at all. So we started this off as a, with the sound effect of a four-wheel drive coming through. And then our hero turns around with that sweat dripping off his, shoulders. Cool. And let's see what this sounds like. Now, does she pull up here? No. Does she pull up here? Right. So we don't actually have the sound of the car pulling up, which is a bit weird. See, weird. Around about here, to me, is where that sound effect stops. That's where the engine shuts off. I'll just turn everything up a bit so I can hear it a bit better. You know what? I'm cheating. I'll see what this does. And let's do a hard cut. So that's where, yeah. So this area here, that's, that shot, that's that shot. I like to keep it to 2 frames in, 2 frames out. I think I kind of explained that one to you before. It's kind of like a Hollywood idea. If it's a hard cut from one scene to the next, then if you do 2 in, 2 in and 2 out across 3 fades, that's sort of like the ideal thing that I was always taught. Anyway, let's see what this sounds like though. See if it sounds natural that the cars stop moving and then the door opens. To me, that's a little bit more natural. Yeah. So yeah. Feel free to shift that sort of stuff around. There's nothing wrong with that. But that does mean, of course, that we're going to be starting with the truck inside while she's folding laundry. So just remember to, excuse me, tidy that up a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to sound a little bit strange.
That's a technique some directors use, though. Like they have the audio of a next scene come before the frame switches.
Yeah, sure. And that's called a transitional sound,
right? Which
is like a great thing. You see it a lot in films like, seminal films. The Hangover.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Where all the guys get together and they're sort of having martinis and they're toasting and music playing and stuff like that, and then they cheers their martinis and they all scull it, little knowing that Zach Galifianakis' character has thrown something in there, and then you hear this up to some guy waking up the next day and turning off the alarm clock. So the alarm clock happened in the future. They just lost all of that time between. So, transitioning sound effects can be incredibly handy in taking a narrative across, sure. It just was hard butt cut in that instance, so, yeah. But, yeah, you're right, it can be. Sometimes it can give you the impression that what's happening in this scene here is happening at the exact same time, you know what I mean? That can help with the flow of the edit. So, yeah, true. It's like whatever you think works best, really.
Okay.
Cool.
G'day.
That's pretty good. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Again, this is another sort of, is this a hard cut? No, that door close happens right on the cut, which is another really big technique for a transient sound to happen right on the cut. So we've got g'day, fade out after the g'day. She actually, oh, wait a second. That's, yeah, that is her saying g'day up there. So we'll just crossfade into that. I didn't even realize. That is the same recording. So again, we've got a cross 3, 2 in, 2 out. This should not be noticeable from, of course, one to the other. It's the same recording.
G'day.
G'day.
Okay, and then she walks across. Now, we have a couple of choices. We could...
G'day.
Yeah, we could go... no, she walks into that shot. Yeah. Okay. What's the best way to explain this? The easiest way to hide an edit is to make sure that it happens right on the cut. You know what I mean? If you cut from one microphone here to the other microphone there, then because the picture changes and the camera perspective changes, you forgive that the background noise might change slightly. Yeah, that's the best way to do it always. Unfortunately, picture editors don't usually edit that way. Yeah, they usually, someone's talking, then the camera cuts, or vice versa. It would just be really, really boring if, oh, wait a second, my camera's not on again. It'd be a really, really boring edit if if there was a camera on one person, they say something, then it cut to someone else, then they go, cut to someone else, and they go, you know what I mean? That's not how the flow of dialogue goes. So you wouldn't cut it that way. In this instance, another really good way to hide and edit is hide a quieter sound underneath a louder sound. So noise under signal. The signal here is this.
Right. Right.
That there is the noise. So what I can do is I can just sort of, fade that underneath this, if that makes any sense. So what I'll do is I'll try and match the frames. Again, yeah, we'll try and match the frames. We'll do it more along these lines. This isn't the 2 frame in, 2 frame out across 3, but we're trying to hide the fact that the background's going to change slightly.
G'day.
G'day.
Oh, God. Oh. Sorry, I hate clothing rustle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find some silence. Now, just like, this here was a different take, a different microphone from this. If I want to paste something over this, you see, the really annoying thing about this particular section here, no one's talking. The only thing that's happening is sounds I don't want, which is the sound of a microphone rubbing against material. Again, that's shiver down your spine ASMR stuff. So let's what I basically just did was I copied this, pasted it down here. I'm going to look for a part of that same recording from the same microphone that's clean. Now, isn't that cool that I can just pull that down and just grab a whole chunk out like that? Yeah, that's one of the best things about an OMF file. Not only does an OMF file give you the audio, it gives you the audio in the correct spot. It also gives you handles. Handles mean that every one of the sides of those clips I can then pull out for however many seconds the picture editor dictates. I usually ask for as many as possible, like 8-10 seconds more. It just means that the handover will be slightly bigger in size because every file is going to be bigger, but it's worth it just to be able to do this. So let's see if we can find a section here. I'll just solo it for now instead of scrubbing, that hasn't got yucky, material through it. Okay, that's a move. This was clean. I'll just hit B and isolate it. Is there any more?
G'day. I've got to decide whether to give up and let them go or not.
Okay, that's kind of the cleanest part. I'm hoping that even earlier on, there may be hope. This is pretty much, and there's a g'day over the top of it. Okay. That's sort of the biggest amount of silence we've got. That's not the hugest amount. Now, what I could also do is I could try and extend that by duplicating it. Yeah, there's a problem with duplicating. Anytime you duplicate anything, you're going to get a looping sound. Yeah, if I just turn this up, I have to because it's silence apparently, and play this, you're going to hear the loop of silence. Yeah, check this out. No, which is kind of bad. So we've got this little click here, and I think we've got a little bit of her voice at the end. Yeah, right there. Now, if I want to make this bigger, and this is an old trick, I can, let's put that back to 0. I can just copy that, go up to Audio Suite, Other, and Reverse. So what this does is instead of there being like a, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, which is really common and very repetitive, I can come in here, paste both of these together with a tiny little fade, and this should not be as noticeable because if there's modulation in there, it's getting flipped and it's modulating back down. So it should be a bit less noticeable. I'll turn it up again to something silly. Still there, but it's not as bad. And quite honestly, this is a very clean recording. So I'll turn that back down to 0. And what I may even do, oh damn it, I did the whole, yeah, good. I'm going to hit Option Shift and 3 and render that as one thing. I can even just call this fill if I want to, you know, but Option Shift 3, anytime you have an amount of clips, you can just render it. And yep, let's do that. So now I'm going to paste that over the top of those yucky crinkly sounds. I'll just pull that in a little bit, do another crossfade. Always do crossfades, even if you know that, you know, there's no audio there. Let's have a listen to this. Hopefully we got rid of that crinkling.
G'day.
G'day. I got to decide whether to give up and let them go or not. Too hot to keep them yarded.
Yeah, there is still some crinkling here.
It's too
Love that ASMR stuff. Look, we don't have to go crazy and clean all of it up now. We can look at doing that later. That I am, oh, that's the breath. It's underneath the breath, that crinkling, which is really annoying. If you want to, there are other techniques that we can utilize. Let's just have a quick look at another one just while we're here, because I think it might work in this instance. I'm just going to turn the waveform all the way up. So that's crazy. And you should be able to see those little crinkly spots where his clothing has made that rustle sound. If there's a sharp transient, like, you know, this thing here or this thing here, that's going to be that crinkle sound. Now, I hate doing this, but you can. You can come in here with your pencil tool and draw it out. Yep. I don't know if you've ever used the pencil tool before.
That is awesome.
But yeah, boom.
I didn't know you could use it that way.
Yep. Yep, very handy. Now, the weird thing about it is sometimes, because, you know, you're cleaning it, but you're not exactly creating a perfect waveform with it. Like when you zoom right in, you can see it. It's obvious kind of thing. You could do it that way. Some people kind of go, okay, well, there's, you know, from 0 to 0. So where's another from 0 to 0? There's something, yeah, you could maybe cut and paste another bit from somewhere else and maybe go over that way. But sometimes when you play it back from this sort of a scenario, it is still noticeable, which is really annoying. Because you take all this time to go in and carefully color in. It's like, you know, I was really good at crayons and stuff. And this is, anyway, let's have a listen, see what happens. Because I could hear that there weren't a hell of a lot of crinkles there. There weren't that many where it would be a loss, you know, just go get some fill, cover over it. Let's see what that sounds like anyway.
I got to decide whether to give up and let them go or not. It's too hot to keep them yarded.
Yeah. So you probably, have to go through there and do that to some of these because some of these are quite ugly. There's like 5 there. Anyway. You don't have to go crazy at this stage. Let's just sort of stick to cleaning up the edits.
It's too hot to keep them yarded.
Okay. So here's the nair, which I like. I like nairs, I am going to turn that up a little bit. It is very quiet. I'm going to fade it in and fade it out. And again, we have a hard cut round about where? Where's the picture cut? Ooh. Where's the picture cut? There. Okay, so that was the same clip. If that's the same clip, that means that, again, we can go 3 in, 3 out, won't be noticed. That was actually a sound effect from the other one. Cool. What's this? Yeah, interestingly, we have the end of the sound effect up here. So they edited the sound effect from 2 different takes. So let's have a listen to this sound effect and see if that sounds like a gate opening and closing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's a nice little beginning of a word. More ASMR. We won't do that anymore. And let's see if we can just get a, I'll see if we can get a fade in here. This is, again, a very clean recording. So the edit would be relatively simple.
Keep them yarded.
No luck for the trucks.
Oh,
Okay. Let's see what that is. No luck with the trucks. I don't want the no luck to be there. So let's just do a hard fade in on the dialogue.
No luck for the trucks.
We always want to have a crossfade. That wasn't there. Let's do a little bit of a fade out here.
oh,
And again, we can hopefully, does that keep going? No,
oh, right.
more crinkly stuff. Jeez. This is the same take. So let's go 2 across, 2 in, 2 out, across 3. Yep. Is all of this making sense? Does anything that I've done here seem like a bit of a weird thing that you want to ask me a question about at all?
Can I just ask about the shortcut for when you're crossfading? What is it again?
Oh, okay. So there's a few ways that you can do a shortcut for a crossfade. Let's just have a look at this, section here. This looks like it'll be a hard cut. Let's just drag and see if it's a cut from one character to another. I lied. It isn't. Okay, so that's him. Yeah, we've gone from one. Right, okay. So, yeah, if we want to go across 3, then I'll just pull 1 out 2, 1 out 1. There's a few ways you can do it. You can either go into the corner here. If you're with your multi-tool, you can put your cursor in the corner. It turns into a square, click, drag. Yep.
Yeah, I find that one fiddly. I wondered if there was a keyboard one.
Oh, yeah, there's heaps. So you can select two, however big you want your fade to be. If you want it to be 2, frames in, 2 frames out, select 2 frames, hit F.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you, there's another way of doing it. If you're 2 frames in, fade to out is G. D, F, and G, they're right next to each other.
Okay, great.
If you want to fade in, it's D. See how the fade is really long and that way?
Yeah.
If I want to fade out, it's G. If I want to just add a fade, it's just F, but I've got to select a region for it.
So,
Which one do you choose to do 2 across, and which one do you choose to do 1 across?
2 across and 1 across. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
aren't they both 2 across and they meet in the middle?
You dragged one of them across 2 frames, and you dragged the other one across 1 frame.
Was this
you do both on 2?
No, both 2, so that they're crossing at the same time.
Yeah.
No, but they're across 3 frames.
Yeah. But that's
So which one did you Yeah, so you've got the green one, you dragged it 2 frames forward, and you dragged the yellow one frame back.
2.
Was it 2? Because
Yeah.
they were sitting on the same frame before.
Oh, was that when I was just demonstrating?
Yeah.
Demonstrating hotkeys. Yeah. It's a good idea to try and keep it 2 in, 2 out across 3 frames if you can. Yeah. I think there was some where I didn't quite stick to it, but if you're fading, 2 in, 2 out. If you're fading underneath something and the noise of that clip is quite loud, you can fade it underneath dialogue. So I mean, you can always break the rules, but as long as you don't hear it, really, there are no rules. I was just always taught that if you can, that's a really good standard way of doing it because there's no increase in, a perceptible volume or anything like that. Ooh.
They're not returning my calls.
Okay. I'll return my calls. Yeah. Oh, there is another way, of course, to shortcut, and this is classic. If you, again, want to select across 3 frames, we want to do a 2 frame in and a 2 frame out. If I select both of these and I hit F, Command F. What was it doing that? Oh, that's why it's doing it. Sorry, it's the wrong one. I lied to you. There is a way of doing it so that you wouldn't really do it at this stage, but I'll show it to you anyway. Let's say that I have everything set up so that I just want to have 2 frames in, 2 frames out across all of these. I can highlight all of that and hit F. Now what happens is, you see how it's defaulted to 2 frames each just by hitting F? All of those defaulted to 2 frames. It did that because of batch fades. I have a preset set. If I just do whatever and hit Command F, not Command, let's just go to batch fades. In the file, it's the edit menu. Goodness me, what happened here? Edit menu, where are my fades? No, it isn't the, where are my fades? So I think for some reason that Microsoft is interfering with my...
Being preferences.
There it is, it's right there. Oh, a second, I'm just going to get this. Yeah, okay, fades. Oh, it is in preferences. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, sometimes you can actually access it from that way. I'm getting a bit mixed up. Where are my preferences?
Down the bottom of setup.
Yeah, there we go, cool. And you go to editing preferences, and of course you have your fades. Fade in, no, it's not here. Fade style of preview pre-rolls, etc. It's not that one. It isn't that one. Sorry, it definitely isn't that one. If I highlight that and I hit Command F, yeah, there we go. Batch fades. Sorry, brain fart there. If you highlight one clip that has a number of things on it, like a fade in and a fade out and a crossfade, or a fade in and a fade out, and hit Command F, you get this thing called batch fades that comes up. That means that you can highlight a whole chunk of things, hit F, and everywhere it can put a fade, every fade in, every fade out, every crossfade, it'll default to these settings. Now, it just so happens that 80 milliseconds is 2 frames. So if you have everything sort of pulled out and it's crossing itself in the right, by the right way, you just want to do 2 frames in, 2 frames out on everything, you can just set this up, pull out all of your little handles here and there, highlight everything and just hit F and it'll just do it all. But yeah, you have to set it all here. So there are quite a few ways to add fades. There's the physical way with the mouse, there's fade in, fade out, which is D and G, and then F is to whatever the selection is. And then of course you can do batch fades. If you highlight a whole chunk, hit F, it'll default to whatever's in here. If you're doing dialogue editing though, sometimes you're doing some pretty crazy fades. So the batch fades thing maybe isn't as helpful, but just so you know it's there. Okay, let's have a look.
I left a couple of messages with the Seymours. They're not returning my calls.
Yeah, they probably won't.
Okay, and there's still a fade in. That looks like it's a hard cut. Oh, maybe not. Where does... Ah, right. So it was in and in. Is that the same name? Another thing, if you want to make sure that you're fading into the same clip as the other, that is episode 27. Yep, so that's the same clip. So we can just do 2 in, 2 out over 3. It should be fine.
Yeah, they probably won't. I've been talking to Harry.
Okay, now I'm going to do... I did notice that the cut was there. So I'm going to go across the cut, make sure that there's 3 frames, 2 in, 2 out. Move
Harry.
on.
He'd really do that.
Yep. Now with this particular one, again, I think that is a continuation. It is. So we can do a similar thing too. 2 in, 2 out across 3. He starts talking here, and I'm pretty sure that's a read on 2. So we'll just go 2 in, 2 out across 3.
He'd really do that. And Alex?
Yep. Okay. 2 in, 2 out across 3. Same thing.
Really do that. And Alex?
Same thing. It's good that we, again, this is a really clean recording. I don't know who recorded this, but it sounds like an ex-ABC guy.
And Alex?
Oh, not Alex.
Now, I hate this too. There's a ring,
And Alex?
a metal ring there,
And Alex?
and I really miss it when it cuts out completely. So I'm going to try and extend it as much as I can, which may not work out, but we'll see.
And Alex?
Ah, not bad. We can fade that out underneath this. So this should not be as noticeable, and I'll try and fade that in slightly.
And Alex?
Oh, not Alex.
You hear how that sort of has more time now to ring out?
And Alex?
Oh, not Alex.
Yeah. It sounds natural. So again, you can't always do these, ideal fades and get to fade on, like, oh, this is on a cut. Yep. So again, I can do like a bit more of a traditional fade here.
Oh, not Alex.
I'm stuffed. The truckies aren't going to cross Harry Ryan. If I don't get a truck, I don't get to the sale.
Great. There's a cut from one shot to the next here. So we should be able to go in and out, like in a nice way. Oops.
Don't get to the sale.
Oh. No. Did you hear that? It looked like there was a little echo. I don't know what the audio is like here with the sync, but
If I don't get a truck, I don't get to the sale.
get to the sale. All right. So that's a completely different delivery of the same line.
If I don't get a truck, I don't get to the sale. Truck, I don't get to the sale.
Yeah. So I would like to cut hard, So again, in this instance, what I could do is what I'm trying to do is move, fade into this track. Got the dialogue there. That's a bit, how's your father? Let's see if there's something clean a bit further down.
Maybe not. I got a whole truck and I don't need it. I got room for an extra 100.
100. There might be a bit of an exhale through the nose here, which could be a little bit annoying. Not just because I have bad sinuses and I'm jealous, but you don't want that. Yeah, cool. All right, that should be all right. So if I grab that, put it over the, around about here. I can crossfade that in.
Get to the sale.
Maybe not. I got a whole truck and I don't need it. I got room for an extra 100. Look, I know it's half of what you want.
I did hear a little bit of something there, so I'm going to extend that across. Cool. Maybe another one just to make sure. Don't need a huge fade there.
Look, I know.
Yeah, you always want to make sure there's a little rustle in there as well. I don't know if I can actually see the waveform. See that little rustle here? I heard that. So let's move that somewhere where it ain't. And then play it again.
I got room for an extra 100. Look, I know it's half of what you wanted to sell, but it's better than nothing. At least you'll have enough to meet the loan payment.
Yep, that should be okay with just another 2 frame.
It's better than nothing. At least you'll have enough to meet the loan payment.
And it shows Harry he can't run everything.
Okay.
It shows Harry he can't run everything.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things you could do here. Again,
It shows Harry he can't run everything.
what you could do is cut this. Yeah, because again, if you can't do the 2 frame in, 2 frame out across 3 frames, one of the other really good ways to do it is to dip out the quiet underneath something louder or the dialogue here. So if I extend this out a little bit, I should be able to fade it out underneath this here because that's a lot louder, and I can come in harder on this. Yeah, so that should be transparent.
Albert is better than nothing. At least you'll have enough to meet the loan payment.
And it shows Harry he can't run everything.
See you tomorrow morning then.
And that's a hard cut. She sounds like a wheeler dealer. I have no idea who these characters are. I never watched a single episode of McLeod's. I'm sorry to say. It makes me feel un-Australian.
Can't run everything.
See you tomorrow morning then.
And we got another end of an N. Yeah, so we're going to do a similar thing. Try and find some silence. Oh, it's so few frames that I need, like 4 or 5 frames. I'm going to see if I can just pinch it from here. It's a bit of a cheat, but actually, I won't cheat. We'll do it this way. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Grab that. Boom. Move it along. I'll cut that out. Go 2 fades in. Go across. Beautiful. Let's rewind it.
See you tomorrow morning then.
Oi.
What?
Oi. That's not very polite.
Oi.
What?
Yeah, so that's from the same take, 2 in, 2 out. And I can do the same thing here across 3 frames. 2 in, 2 out.
Oi.
What?
Thanks.
Now with this one, we do have the on mic
Thanks.
and the off mic.
Right.
I'm not hearing any phasing in this instance, so I'm just going to leave it there. I'm pretty cool with that. I'm a cool guy like that. Excuse me. There we go, and we cut to her around about there. So we could do a hard cut this way. And again, if we're pulling out any handles, we always want to check and see what we've exposed.
Thanks.
No worries.
Cool. It's not bad. And let's say we want to do a hard cut in and a hard cut out, just because. So that's basically organizing all of our, I did want to go into, and do 2 sound effects tracks just because I am a big proponent of checkerboarding. Quite honestly, what we could do is we could do this, drag it up there, do a crossfade, and that should probably be fine as well. But adding one more track, either way, if you want to checkerboard it, cool. If you want to join it together with a fade on the same track, that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. And then, we have managed to put crossfades on everything. We've cleaned up some of the crackling. And
just quickly, what were the keys again for a quick fade in and a quick fade out and a crossfade in and crossfade out?
Crossfade. Well, okay, a crossfade in. Yeah. Okay, I think I understand. So what I'll do is I'll just sort of copy this. We'll chuck it over there, and let's have a little bit of a looky here again with the fades. So I'm going to just do a bunch of cuts here and that sort of stuff. Yep. If you want to do a crossfade, and it's a specific amount, let's say that I know I need a 4-frame crossfade. I'll just go 2 frames each side and hit F. It'll know that it's a crossfade just because it's across 2 clips. F is the default one to like a highlighted region. So if I do a highlight in, F. Yep. If I say have a cursor somewhere and I want to fade either to the cursor or away from the cursor, that's either side of the F key. So So let's say, yeah. So if I have the cursor in the middle and I want to fade to it from the top, I hit D. Yeah. If I want to fade away from it, I hit G. Just either side of the Alt F key.
Yep.
Now, the other way of doing it, oh, of course, you've got your, your mouse way, which isn't the shortcut way. The other way of doing it is like batch fades. So here we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got about what? The need for 4 crossfades and a fade in and a fade out. So I just highlight everything and I hit Command F, and then I can actually put in batch fades that I want. So let's say I don't want that. I want to have a standard, like, a standard equal power. No, sorry, equal gain. Yeah, we'll go with equal gain in, same out. And you can also do your milliseconds. Just remember that 1 frame is 40 milliseconds. So if you want to do 2 frames in, 2 frames out, that means that your ins and outs would be 80 milliseconds. If you want your crossfade to be 4 frames, that's double that, so it's 160 milliseconds. Yep. Adjust to fit. If we go in there and have a little bit of a look, see how all of our crossfades are exactly 4 frames across? And our ins and outs are 2 frames across. So it's all down to the milliseconds. Unfortunately, you can't tell it to do anything other than milliseconds. It defaults to milliseconds. You can't say frames or anything. But just remember that 1 frame is 40 milliseconds.
Okay, sweet.
Are there any other questions at all? No? All right. So look, what I'll do is, I'll stop recording. And this is kind of the first step of this, the first, exercise. And this is going to take us through dialogues, sound effects, ambience, all that sort of stuff, as well as music. And we will be creating a template for this as well. Yep. You all right, Lee, there? You look tired. Yeah. I would sort of make the lighting in your room a little, once you've figured out how to turn on the lights in your room, yeah, I'd maybe go a bit brighter there. Okay, cool. Can't hear you. All right, I'm going to stop this recording and, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the handover, yeah?